this section, we will cover basically the roadmap if you want to become a machine learning enthusiast or machine learning engineer. So, what are all the key learnings? What do you need to have in your personality? All the traits that a machine learning engineer should have, we are going to cover in this part. So, Jatin, let's start with it. Do you actually suggest a quick, good roadmap for our new machine learning enthusiast?
Yeah, like if you're talking about somebody who is just a fresher, maybe familiar with computer science or not, or who wants to start this field, I can actually divide the skill sets required for this. So first of all is like you need to have some knowledge about data or processing the data, like even little bit. That is a requirement. Another thing is like you should be because of you need that thing. You need to have a programming knowledge. You have to work with data like with a particular programming language. I prefer Python a lot because it has everything that you need as a machine learning engineer. Like you need programming, you need some data knowledge, and you need mathematical knowledge as per se. So mathematical knowledge as just like if you're talking about algorithms, some algorithms like regression, classification algorithms like SVM and all that stuff, logistic regression, all that stuff. So a mathematical knowledge is also required. So if like you want me to break it down in the roadmap of it, what we can say is basically if you are first of all you have to learn about the maths, you have to learn about those programming languages, you have to practice it, and then you have to learn about the advanced algorithms of machine learning like logistic regression, linear regression. Like these are the basics ones, but SVM, decision trees, random forest, and there are a lot of stuff.
Python has everything. So it seems like Python is your personal favorite because it's every data
Yes.
engineer's thing that if he chooses to work on R, Python, or SAS. So why did you choose a Python?
I have worked with SAS little bit. I have worked with R like very briefly, but from the start, like I started with Python, and like I am like a programmer by heart. So like R is more of like a data for a language for a data specific person like who is not that much into programming. That's what I feel while I'm coding in R. Python just gives me like more of a programming vibe, and like it is a open source like it has a very good open source community. If you have any kind of issues, there are like lots of people to help you out, or like you already have the answers in Stack Overflow and other stuff, and it is very easy to learn. It is like human readable, and I don't know, like I just love Python. And because of especially because in like machine learning and stuff, you have lots of good deep learning frameworks. If you want to code neural network and stuff, Python is the best language for you. That I can say, at least for now. Maybe in future some other language comes. We have to pivot in that, then we will. But for until then, like Python is what I like. Yeah.
So Jatin, talk about the complexity. If somebody is learning from scratch, all these three languages are different, right? And all these three languages are
Yes.
new for that newbie. So, talk about the
Mhm.
complexity of how easy one can learn Python versus these two.
Learning any programming language is not a big deal. Like what you have to like if you're completely new to this computer science or programming part especially, what I should tell you is not to focus on like on a particular programming language, but to focus on the programming concepts. Like I started my programming journey from C. I really find like a beginner should start from C. I don't know. I can be wrong or stuff like that. But since I started with C, there are a lot of things that got cleared from there. I didn't had like directly a functions to do any kind of thing, which I have that liberty in Python.
Mhm.
So like because I started with C, I had to learn a lot about the programming concepts, data structures, algorithms, and all that kind of things. So choose any programming that you want, like a programming language that you can basically I can talk about Python and R especially, like they are both easy to learn, but first you should focus on like your programming concepts, and then you can basically choose any of them. And yeah, I don't think like one is easier than another. It basically depends on person to person. I personally find Python comfortable, so yeah, I will be always in the favor of Python
Yeah.
in this debate.
Okay. So everybody has a personal taste. It doesn't mean that, we are saying that R or SAS is not that efficient. It's just that Python is Jatin's favorite. So, it's up to you how you choose it or So whatever appeals you depends upon you. If you can achieve the same thing using either of the three, you're good. Jatin, you mentioned that C language is the one where you started with. You know, your journey into programming. It gave you that kick. It gave you that thing towards programming. So, do you think somebody should right away jump into these high-level languages, or they should start from some basic things?
They can if they want to like directly learn the high level language and stuff like that. But again, like I will focus a lot. Like if you're learning programming, if you're starting with programming, learn the concepts well, and then like practice it in a particular programming language of any of your choice. But learn the concepts well. And I find that C is the kind of language which will make you to learn about those things. And C is kind of like very have to remember a lot of things. So yeah, it makes you like that. As a beginner, I like C, but I don't think so that I will go back and code in that because now I have Python.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the requirement, and this is what I think of like being a good programmer or something like that. If any kind of requirement is coming which is in which like you can use some other language which is much better for you, you should not like be very rigid about your choice. Like if even if like I like Python working because I have been working Python since so long. So if like there is something I have to create a kind of front end and I need to learn about JS and all that stuff or something like that, I should not be hesitating about that, because learning a programming language is not a big task. If you are comfortable with the like programming concepts and all that stuff, learning a new language is not a big task. And every language actually has their own kind of benefits. So Python has something like where it is easy to read, you can easily implement things very quickly, but it has some drawbacks like some speed issues like compared to C or Java, let's say. And yeah, so based on that, you can choose, or your company, like if you're working for a company, they choose some kind of languages, and based on that you have to adapt to it.
Yeah.
And it's more or less about the like requirements. So for machine learning, Python is good, but if for something else, I don't mean to offend anybody, but yeah, it's more or less about the requirements.
Yeah. And personal choice as well. If you find something easy and you are able to drive your purpose out of it, then there is no harm, choosing a favorite. Like we mentioned in the beginning of this conversation, that every company has their own set of role defined for machine learning. It can vary from company to company, requirement to requirement. But how, in general, does the career of a machine learning engineer grows and evolves?
So like I can speak a little bit about what I'm doing or what I'm exposed to. Like I have worked as a machine learning intern too before joining Red Hat, and that like I had to, because that was a startup, so I had to do all the end-to-end things. So if I have to create a particular small project or feature for our product, I have to look for the data. I have to build that pipeline. I have to build the machine learning part of it, like the algorithms and stuff which are processing the data and generating the required output. And I have to host it into AWS services so that like the team or the company or the client, whoever is using it, can use it as an API. So they're like mostly I had to code. Actually, it is a completely development job that you have to sit around. You have to code for code all the solutions that you want. You have to create that infrastructure also, like how your service is gonna run, because you are not just a data scientist who is trying different stuffs and creating machine learning models, but you have to run it too. So you have to create that infrastructure which is running those applications and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like what you have to look for as a machine learning engineer, you should be familiar with the algorithms of machine learning. You should be familiar with how the data ingestion and all that stuff is processing, and you should be familiar with the infrastructure side of it too, so that that will help you to write code in that way. So for example, you can write code in very modular way, so that you are creating something, some project here which you think like some of the functions will be used in another project. So you have to be like that. And yeah, it's mostly about coding in Python, mostly in Python and sometimes in SQL, but it's more about what you are coding. So that is what is differentiating between an engineer, a software developer, or a machine learning engineer.
If somebody is not, they don't have a thing for coding, they are not so apt in coding. How do we still think that they have scope to become a machine learning engineer?
For a machine learning engineer, you should have like, or at least you should, because most of the time you will be coding. So if you don't like coding, and coding is more or less like a way that you convey how you are solving a problem. So let's imagine like a pencil. So code programming or coding is like that pencil, and whatever you draw from it or whatever you write on it, that is the end product. So if you don't like drawing, or if you don't like to solve problems with coding, then like you should look for something like a more analytical role. If you are interested in data, if you're interested in data but you don't like programming a lot, you can look for a more of like a data analyst role, in that like your more focus will be on analyzing and understanding the data, why it is happening, what is happening, and making some kind of decisions out of it. That is something that you can focus on. But if you have a thing for coding, or if you can like when I'm saying like if you have a thing for coding, it's like even though like you don't know a lot about coding, but you like it, or you think that you are going to like it, so you should try it out. And based on that, you like, if you're not liking it, then it makes no sense sitting around and coding all day. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So if you like it, then yeah, you can explore this thing.
Yeah, again, it takes us back to that conversation. Don't go on the buzz, don't go on the social media buzz that, one should become a machine learning engineer just because people are talking about it. But if you certainly don't like coding, that's probably not the place where you belong. And you should, unveil more jobs or more career options for you.
Like I know people who are interested in data, but they don't like coding a lot. So they are exploring the fields of data analysis, because there they can work with data, and they don't have to they don't have to code a lot.
Not a lot, but the job, is also nowadays, if you talk about 2021, being a data analyst is also somewhat of coding, but it actually evolves. Once you are into that
Yes.
job, it is not 100% requirement, but it's good to have. It may sound a weird question, but why should someone become a machine learning engineer in 2021? How do we support this statement?
Like there are lots of things that I can say. You can create cool
Say.
you can create cool projects. My passion for life is, I recently realized, like I knew it, but I recently, like there was one application that I was filling, and that they were asking about what's your passion for life, and I stopped there. Like, programming is not my passion. Programming is merely a tool. Machine learning is not my passion. It is something that I like. But I was thinking about, and the thing that I'm really passionate about is problem solving. And and like when I think of the problems that we have currently, and man, like this is the thing that I think will solve lots and lots of problems. Like you can think of like recently Amazon's this was on like all lots of memes pages, that you order something on Amazon, and like it is showing that 7-day expected delivery, but they are coming out in like 2 or 3 days. It is because they are managing lots of stuff with machine learning, the delivery systems and all that stuff. You you can book an Uber or Ola like at your home directly, and like it is there. Like all that kind of things are happening. Food delivery systems, or even self-driving cars and all those stuff. They are basically because of ML side. Like ML is a kind of tool that you can use in lots and lots of problem solving. It's helping in healthcare too. For example, when COVID came out, there was this challenge out there, open source challenge out there, in which you have to write some kind of algorithm, or like some kind of product which basically reads lots and lots and lots of PDFs or books, and it gives it summarizes those things. Because COVID is old virus, like COVID-19 was an old virus. There was a lot of study material there, but because it was not in humans, so there was not any discussion about it, and many people didn't like read about it or know about it, like even especially about the doctors. COVID was like that part that was not important and was not coming to the exam. So that's why like creating a vaccine or some kind of medicines for it require a lot of study, and we humans have a like limit. We cannot study like tens and thousands of books in a day or like in a week. So for that, like if you can create a machine learning, if you can create an application which is basically reading all that stuff or processing all that stuff in few hours, and after processing it, just giving you the important summary out of it, that is like a very big problem solved very easily. That kind of things, when we talk about like the problems that we have and the solutions that we can get. I'm not aware of like if you have seen that there was a documentary kind of movie on Netflix which was talking a lot about negative effects of AI and all that kind of stuff, like how the social media platforms are using AI to basically keep us more interactive with the social media, which was hurting a lot. They were not looking for what is right or wrong, but they were looking at like how they can get more of our attention, so that we are hooked up in like social media platforms like Instagram or Facebook shows us the things that we want to see, and not the things that are useful for us, and how it changes our philosophies and all that kind of things. So with that kind of like negatives are there too with this technology, but I think that these kind of negatives, like negative things, can be solved again with the help of the same technology. So like you must read news from somewhere like Google News or some other platform. So they kind of show you the news that you are interested in. For example, like if you uh, if you like start seeing like if you search for how climate change is a hoax, or it is not true, it is just a propaganda. If you search for it, then after a while you will only get news based on that. Like you will get news related to that, like supporting your argument, which is like climate change is a hoax, and which is a very like in that scenario, what is happening, like a person is ingested with the information that he wants to know, not the information that is true, or not the both side of information, and based on that he can make a decision. But if you are forcing a person to just read one and one side of like things only, he will believe in that. And that is I think one of the most dangers that we have, that we are gonna like biggest problem that we are gonna face in the coming years. When people talk about like negatives of AI and all that kind of stuff, this is something that I fear the most. I don't think that there will be a Terminator out there. I think some kind of good initiatives should be taken, or will be taken with the use of same technology. Like there can be apps which is showing you like specific to news. They can show you like the positives and negatives, like both side of the story, and based on that you can make your choice. Like if you're searching for climate change as a hoax, it like that thing can also show you like why it is true, and based on reading those two materials you can make your own decisions. And yeah, that is basically increasing your knowledge, and that is something that you should see if you're searching that too. So yeah, like there are lots and lots of problems that we are facing, like modern world problems, and that I think that machine learning will be able to answer lots of things. So that is like if you really think that you this is something because of this reason you should be like coming into this field, that's the best answer that I can say. Or like we were talking about passion and all this stuff, like who should start in machine learning and all that kind of. This is the thing that drives me, that keeps me motivated, and that actually keeps me motivated to help others to come to this, because like there cannot be enough people working on this, because we have so many problems. So there's enough space for everybody, I guess.
Yeah, enough space for everybody. That's the message out there. Whoever is listening, don't think there are no jobs. There are always jobs for good people. There are always jobs for talented and passionate people. So don't think there are not enough jobs. It's just that are there enough people to fit into those jobs? Yeah. So I think with that, Jatin, we have covered almost all the things that is enough to give you a kick about machine learning. Anything that you want to include,
I guess so.
or last notes, learning resources that you want to suggest, please go ahead.
Yes, so like when we're talking about roadmap, I like very basically said that you should have to learn maths, you have to learn programming, and then you have to learn about the algorithms. But you can actually divide that task into, like, if you're good with like if you're okay with programming, but still you have to start with Python and all that stuff. You can start it side by side with maths. You should be able to like learn at least high school mathematics, especially statistics, probability, linear algebra, calculus. So those are the things that you will require to understand those algorithms. So if you are comfortable with those mathematical concepts or just brush them up, learn a programming language, start with the basic side, and then learn about the like machine learning algorithms, something like start with very basic like linear regression, logistic regression, and move ahead. There are courses out there which one of the course that I highly recommend for the freshers is Introduction to Machine Learning Engineering by Andrew Yang. It is available on YouTube and Coursera. I'm not sure about YouTube, but it is available on Coursera. It is like if you want to get that certification, it's around 3K something. I don't know, but you can watch that course for free too. Like there's an option for audit, so you can go around that course. It will really help you a lot to understand a very basic of maths behind machine learning algorithms, but machine learning algorithms too. And side by side, if you are working on a programming language, I would recommend you to implement it in, and like I prefer Python, but you can choose other language to like R. So side by side, if you're learning any algorithm, implement it, find open source data available like online, implement the use case and see the results yourself. And based on that, like once you start that journey, you will be able to understand like, do you want to do it or not? Or like, are you liking it or not? And then based on that, you like once you start building stuff, you will more or less figure it out what you want to learn next. And don't get very much like overwhelmed with the technologies like neural networks. We have this and that. There are lots of techie things, but start with the basics, stick to them, and like once that those are clear, you can move ahead into much more advanced, something like neural networks and stuff.
Being foundationally strong is very important, and I think the biggest of the authors advise the same. What say, Jatin?
I agree. And one thing, like I emphasized this a lot while our conversation was happening. But while learning, try to create something of your own. Try to build some projects, and if you're a fresher, try to get some kind of internships. So that will show like the recruiter or the company that yeah, you have some knowledge and you can learn more, and that's what they're looking for. So that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, inculcate that habit of, going hand in hand, what the instructor is saying. Try to, go with all the exercises, do it practically so that you have hands-on experience of doing things and trying out new stuff, rather than just reading and listening to it. So yes, get your hands dirty, and that's what we all are talking about. So all right, Jatin, with
That's
that,
very important.
such an informative session. So let us know, guys, how you found it. I'm sure you must be having a lot of questions because it is not easy as listening to us for 1 hour. So, so whatever questions you might have, please put all of those questions in the comment box. I mean, if Jatin is okay, feel free to reach out to him, and I will let him talk about his contacts.
Yeah, you can like reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. So yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, I will give Jatin's LinkedIn link. You can connect with him, talk to him. He's super helpful, as he talked about in the beginning. And I think he'll be happy to help you and share his knowledge. So, yeah, with that, we are closing up this session. Do not hesitate to let us know, and we'll be happy to give you more such information like we always do. Thanks, guys.